Magic players and card collectors of all kinds. Welcome back to the channel. I'm filming this Super Deck Sunday in several different parts. This one's going to count as a Kaiba short for you guys as well. So, Kaiba, you're going to help me choose. Am I doing the Angel deck or am I doing the Sacrifice deck this week? Whichever deck I don't do this week, I'll do next week. You pick out which one I'm going to do. Am I picking this one or am I doing this one? This one or this one? You let me know. Which one smells better? Which one do you think, baby? Oof. Do you like the angel one better? Do you like that one? Or do you like the angel? Which one do you think? Hey, you think the angel one? You think the angel one's the nice one? Yeah? Now where's your treat? There's your treat. Put it there for you. Let me move the sacrifice deck out of your way so you can go and eat your treat. Go ahead. Yeah, that's for you. No? Aw, you're a good boy. Are you calling dibs? Are you calling dibs on my playmat? You're adorable. I love you, Kaiba. Kaiba has since navigated his way over to the back door, where he really wishes he could sun himself, but I'm not allowed to open the blinds because it'll heat up the house and we'll be in trouble. Sorry, baby. But we will start working on the deck that Kaiba proposed, and we'll see how far we can get before my dad gets home, because I have no idea where he went, and the moment he starts walking through the door, I'm cutting off this video, and we'll continue it later, probably in the evening, when he's in bed. Oh my god, Ibid? What the heck's up, Ibid? So, I realized after I proposed that this was an Angels versus Sacrifice deck, that that's not really exactly what these decks are. This deck is more of a, what I think people who worship, like, this is a very, like, worshipping of God kind of deck in, like, a, almost like a Christian faith kind of way, and, like, a very, like, the light is the ruler kind of way. And the other deck is more like a worshipping of, like, almost like the Aztec style of God, where, like, sacrifice is the most important thing. And so I find them both very compelling decks for those reasons, and that's why I keep them together in the same box, and why I plan to present both of them back to back in 2 weeks. And then after that, I'll probably do a Yu-Gi-Oh deck, unless we happen to finish. I haven't decided where I want to put the camera, because this feels just too close, but at the same time too far. I'm not using the overhead camera right now because I'm downstairs, so I think that's going to have to be the best. And of course, we'll open this pack of Avatar cards at the end, assuming we have time. I was going to try and play Guess the Commander with you guys, but I figured there's just no point in that. And I also went really a lot back and forth on the Commander, for the record. There is another card in this deck that I actually kind of like more for the Commander, but if I want this deck to play at its most optimum level, the best card to definitely run is Giada, Font of Hope, as the Commander. Because she's so much easier to get onto the battlefield compared to the one that I actually really like. And I kind of like the idea that she gives all the other angels a boost as they come into play too, which is pretty nice. That fly is going to be exceedingly annoying today. So as I get through the creature pile, you will see the last creature that I show you is the other commander that I like to run. And it is also kind of a very common choice, probably, among angel commanders. So it too would not make for a fun game of guess the commander, probably. But I will show you the tokens that I have so far. I've got a spirit token, I've got a knight token, I've got an angel token that's a 4/4, and I've got an angel token that is a 4/4 with vigilance. I'm running this one. I wanted a 3/3 angel, and I don't seem to have one, so I think I'm running this one as my 3/3. Because I definitely need one with flying and vigilance, if I remember correctly. But I might be wrong. I might be still searching for a 3/3 as well. Let's get into the lands. Since it's mostly angels, there are a few cards that are not angels, but mostly it's angels. What, like I say, makes this deck unique is it all has, like, all the artwork has some sort of, like, religious, almost kind of undertone to it, like worshipping or praise, or one's called a chant, that kind of stuff. So, this Path of Ancestry I thought looked very much like a Pathway to Heaven, almost, kind of thing, which is cool. And so, of course, it does its usual Path of Ancestry stuff that we all love. I've got a Temple of the False Gods. I thought that was a really good one for this deck. Sejiri Glacier is an interesting card. It is a land. This place offers nothing and takes everything, so I thought that was kind of an interesting way of looking at things. But on the other side, it has a really nice sort of, like, magical undertone to it, like heavenly barrier almost kind of thing going on. Sejiri Shelter, 1 and white. Target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. It blocks the windswept salt and frigid air, but the loneliness of Sejiri remains. Kind of cool. So I thought that is more in there for the second half of the card, like the other side, but I could use the extra land, so it's also in there for the land reason. We got this beautiful, like, tell me that's not gorgeous light sort of coming down from the heavens thing. We got this beautiful cloud representation of planes, which I thought was a good one. And then most of these are just like, they've got the gorgeous little beams of light, or it's all really well lit kind of thing. Look at that one with the parting of the clouds. Beautiful sun in that one. And so that's why I picked all these different lands, is for that particular reason, is the artwork just felt like really divine almost kind of thing. There's the word I've been searching for a while. I think that one's my favorite, to be honest. It's a very old school land. Mark Poole made that one. Oh, apparently not as old school as I thought. Maybe it's a reprint? If not, that's a really cool land, so nonetheless. That's a 2023 one, too. I like that one, too. That fly is really asking for me to smack it, but I'm trying not to. I like this one because it almost looks like the Path of Ancestry one, too. So it's kind of nice. Alright. Go away, fly. Go away. You horrible, horrible insect that I don't want to kill, but you're trying to tempt me to do so. While I'm doing a deck about being all gracious and praying to the heavens, and you're trying to make me kill you. That's next weekend. Alright, so we got Answered Prayers. Again, a very thematic deck in this one. Rhystic Circle, which I thought is kind of neat. I'd never heard of this card before I pulled it for the first time, and I thought this is a really cool card for this deck. So pay 1 and any player may pay 1 in return. If nobody does, the next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you, this turn prevent that damage. So essentially, if somebody tries to deal some sort of damage to you, you have like a free counter to it, unless somebody else pays 1, and then you just go back and forth trading mana, which is kind of funny because it makes for an interesting little matchup of wits. Sentinel's Eyes. I thought that one looked like you're very much like devoted. Gives vigilance as well, which is kind of nice. Ethereal armor, definitely looking very religious there. Crown of Awe. Another old school one. Protection from black and red. Mostly in here for that reason, but also you can sacrifice this thing. And then the enchanted creature and other creatures that share the same creature type get protection from black and red until end of turn, so it can keep you from being destroyed by. I mean, yeah, it would keep you from being destroyed by a board wipe, I'm pretty sure. And any sort of damage spells, battle damage wouldn't affect you either. So it's really good in that sense. Light of Promise. This deck has a lot of life gaining, so that creature is going to get really big. Twin Blade Blessing. Again, just like, it's so thematic. I love this deck because of how thematic it is. And finally, Angelic Chorus. The other thing I'm doing with this deck is, I don't usually do this, but I'm actually presenting things in order of rarity for once in a change, instead of like grouping them into like all the different combos and stuff, because there's not a whole bunch of combo stuff going on in this deck, per se. Some of the creatures help each other out, and there's definitely a lot of life gaining stuff going on, which is the main goal of this deck, as you're going to see in the artifacts. But I mean, it's not the end-all be-all. I can also win through combat damage. There's several different spells that will work really well to my advantage, too. I like this one, though. Angelic Chorus. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to its toughness. You're just getting really beefed up in terms of your life gain on that. So the artifacts. I just want to make sure that, yes, the one that I thought was at the end is at the end. Okay. So we're going to start ourselves off with a Pristine Talisman. Gives you one colorless, and you get a life every time you tap it. Pretty solid. Sun Droplet. Whenever you're dealt damage, you put that many charge counters on this thing, and at the beginning of each upkeep, you can remove a counter to gain one life. Lightning Greaves to protect my commander. Mainly to protect my commander. Pearl Medallion, so that all my white spells cost one less to cast. So between that and my commander tapping to add one white for my angels cost two less to cast, which is pretty nice. Cloud Key. As it enters the battlefield, choose artifact, creature, enchantment, instant, or sorcery, and all the spells of the chosen type cost one less to cast. Again, probably choosing creature, so that my angels will now cost 3 less to cast, because angel spells tend to be pretty expensive. Plus, again, so thematic, right? We've got the Sun Droplet, Pristine Talisman, Lightning Greaves, all like precious things that you would like say have been adorned by God, per se. The Cloud Key, the Pearl Medallion. Now we're on to the Moon Silver Spear. This one's awesome. Okay, so this is the one that makes 4/4 angels with flying. So I definitely need a... I'm pretty sure this deck also makes 3/3 angels with flying, so I need to get that token at some point and add it to this deck. I could be wrong, though. And then this is the big boy in this deck. Aether Flux Reservoir. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. You can pay 50 life, and this thing deals 50 damage to any target. As long as I can keep this in play, the amount of life that I'm going to be gaining throughout this deck, I can probably kill off a player every turn cycle with this thing, provided they're not also gaining a ton of life themselves. So, yeah, pretty insane. And again, just has like all this beautiful like sun background, heavenly artwork kind of stuff going on. I just love this deck. So much I love this deck. Sorceries. Angelic Edict. That is, to be perfectly honest, kind of expensive, but it had to be included for the artwork. There are better options if I didn't want to include it for the artwork and the theme, but again, this deck is totally about the theme. Even with that said, though, this deck is clearly like a bracket 2 going on bracket 3 minimum. I don't think there's any game changers in it. I forgot to put it in online before I started doing this, so I'm not 100% sure on that. Solemn Offering. Righteous Confluence. Again, so thematic. Revoke Existence, Angelic Edict, Solemn Offering, Righteous Confluence. Storm of Souls. That one's pretty insane. I'm not gonna lie. Austere Command, because why not? And Starfall Invocation. So we actually have three different board wipes in this deck. Oh, well, no, that's not technically a board wipe. That's a board returner. Two board wipes and one board returner. I love this card. This is one of my favorite cards that came out in Bloomborough. Do the instance next. Piety. I'm not sure if that one's actually allowed in the game anymore or not. To be perfectly honest, I have a feeling that that might be one of the ones that they actually banned, and if it is, please don't give me too much heck in the comments, because I never got around to looking it up. It doesn't feel like it's one of the ones that's offensive, and I thought it was kind of nice to have the little flavor text from the Quran, to be honest, on there. I think that makes it really neat that it brings in another religion into the deck that, again, shows this beautiful worship of God and of the light and of the true way kind of thing. Like, I love this deck for that reason. But anyways, all blocking creatures get +0/+3 until end of turn. It's just a really nice one to help protect my angels on one particular turn. Whoever obeys God and his prophet fears God and does his duty to him will surely find success. I think that's cute. I like that. We've got Beaming Defiance. Another one that just clearly is angelic in nature. Angelic Intervention, speaking of. Invoke the Divine. Like, this is just so bloody thematic. It took a while for me to find all these cards in my collection and put them together into one deck, but it was so worth it. Angel's Mercy. God's Willing. Path to Exile, admittedly, is a common card, but again, this one I felt had very much a flavor thing going on. It's like, the light is banishing the creature's darkness away, and it's like breaking apart. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. Glimpse the Sun God. I love this one. Pay X and white to tap X creatures and then scry one. So you can just basically tap down somebody's entire board if you have enough mana, and then swing out. Duty Beyond Death. This is another fantastic card for protecting my group. This is also one that I believe I got from Shomenuchi. So shout out to Shomenuchi for this one. I believe it was in the Strixhaven pack that we opened before. Either that or it's one of the ones that he gave us in the set of Strixhaven cards that he included in our prize pack. So, yeah, thank you, Sho, because this one is perfect for this deck for sure. Especially with the artwork being so awesome. The light coming right out of the creature to defy everything and protect everyone else. Valorous Stance, because of course it had to go into this deck for sure. I had like 2 or 3 different versions of this artwork, and I decided that one was the nicest one, I thought, for the idea. Divine Resilience. Pretty solid card all around. Revitalize. I think this is one that I actually had before from a different Strixhaven set. I don't think that's the same Strixhaven set as the one that... Yeah, they've got different symbols. Because I did pull some of the older Strixhaven cards too once before, and I like this one. Gain 3 life, draw a card. Looks pretty awesome. Blessed Reversal. Good way to keep myself in the game. And finally, the one I was talking about earlier, Orum's Chant. That one's pretty ridiculous, to be honest. I think that's like a very mean card, but I love this card for this deck. You okay, baby? You got the itchies? Oh, baby. Yes, I finished filming this and then I'll make our lunch, okay? I just want to get this done now because Buddy Perry's out. I'm actually filming this on Friday, but you guys won't see it till Sunday. Unless I, for whatever reason, run out of space on my memory. and need to put it out earlier. So there are 6 creatures that are not angels, and progressively they become more interesting for this deck, per se, in terms of what they can do, and how twisted that stuff is for the deck as a whole. Like, what they offer is pretty amazing. This one being the weakest of the 6. It just is a 2/3 with lifelink, but what is nice about it is you can bring it back from the graveyard as an enchantment to give any creature lifelink. So, and it has this really nice wing sort of thing going on with the angelic ancestors embrace, so I like that. Next up, we have Lunarch Veteran, which whenever a creature you control enters, you gain a life, and then this one transforms and becomes Lunarch Phantom. And again, whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, you gain a life. So you're gaining life no matter what from this one, which is kind of cool. Speaking of life gain, I am actually going to bump one up. This one should have went first, because it's also cute, but it only does the life gain when creatures come in. So it does not have the same bonus that this one does, where it can come back and help me with the creatures leaving as well. And I think that one is any creature, or is it just my creatures? It has to be my creatures only. Okay. That's okay, though. Still a lot of life gain going on. Next up, where we're going to use some of that life gain to help, or no, this doesn't actually cost any life, pardon me. Again, very flavorful though. I love the like glowing hands thing going on as she heals the man, or whoever it is. I also think the flavor text is pretty cool too. Anyways, pay 1 and a white, prevent 1 damage to a creature or a player. I'm pretty sure what we're going to do with that is keep ourselves alive as much as possible. Next up, we have Syndicate of Ties, which you pay your tithes in the church, right? So I thought that was kind of very flavorful and on point. And you have to pay, if you pay white when you play any spell, you can make everyone else lose a life and you gain that much life. So that's pretty solid. And then the last one in this deck that is not an angel is Speaker of the Heavens. Vigilance and lifelink. Tap it and make a 4/4 angel with flying. Pretty solid. You can only do that if you have 7 or more life than your starting life total, which, you know, starting with 40 and having all these things that are gaining us life should not be a difficult thing. So we can make an angel each turn by tapping that one, which is kind of cool because we can leave it up as a blocker if we need it, and then tap it when it's about to become our turn to make an angel before that happens. Alright, all these angels are not in any particular order except for that last one being where it is, but again, they are ordered based on rarity. So, we're going to start with the Exalted Angel. Flying, when it deals damage, you gain that much life. So it's basically got lifelink. And you can morph it, which I'm not really sure why I would ever bother to do that, but yeah. Dazzling Angel, 2 and a white. Whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. So we have 3 creatures in this deck that actually give us life every time something enters the battlefield, which is insanely good. Sunblade Angel, 5 and a white. Flying, first strike, vigilant, lifelink. Pretty stacked guy, the only downside being he's only a 3/3, but he can get powerful enough, for sure. Anointer of Valor, you're going to notice again how expensive all these are. So far the cheapest one being a 2 and a white. We've got 4 and 2 white, 5 and a white, and now a 5 and another white. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you may pay 3. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Decent. Segovian Angel is the cheapest one by far. 1 white for a flying vigilant 1/1. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's got some pretty decent stats. 3 and a white for a flying. When it enters, exile target player's graveyard. I think that one's just insanely fun to mess with people who have graveyard synergies going. Herald of the Sun, 4 and 2 white, flying. Pay 3 and a white to put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature with flying. Probably not doing that second ability, to be honest. I did kind of have like a certain limitation to how many angels I had available, so some things got put in here that aren't necessarily better than some of the other ones that are available maybe on market, but this is my collection and I'm pretty happy with the deck that I have for sure. I think it still does its job. If If you would gain life, you gain that much life plus 1 instead, and this thing has +2/+2 as long as you have 25 or more life, so pretty much always going to be a 4/4 flying for 3 and a white, or 2 and a white, that's pretty solid. Youthful Valkyrie, 1 and a white, flying. Whenever another angel you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on this guy, so he can get pretty beefy. Sarah Angel, 3 and 2 white, flying vigilant 4/4. Nothing wrong with that. 3 and 2 white again, flying. When this thing enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target creatures. Emancipation Angel, 1 and 2 white, 3/3. We're getting into the rares now. I'm pretty sure. That's a gold one, right? Nope. Nope, we're still on blue. Still on uncommons, pardon me. You can return a permanent you control to its owner's hand. That's a neat one to have, to bring back one of the angels to your hand so you can re-trigger its ability if you want to. Say the graveyard punishing one, for example. 3 and a white, whenever this thing becomes the target of a spell or ability, it gets +0/+3 until end of turn. Oh, my legs are cramping. My leg is cramping so hot. Trying to finish this in less than 30 minutes. Kaiba walks through and destroys Giada, Font of Hope. I say no more angel. Almost there, baby. Almost there. This one's kind of neat because you can cast it for 6 or you can cast it for 1 and 2 white. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, target creature gains your control choice of Vigilance, Flying, or Lifelink. Pretty neat. Obviously, it would be a different creature than this one if you're going to give it Flying. When Angel of Ruins enters the battlefield, exile up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. That one's kind of decent, but it's expensive for sure. But again, like I say, if you've got all 3 cost reducers on the board, that one only costs you 3 and 2 white. 3 and a white, actually. So that's not so bad. 6 and 2 white, Angel of Salvation. This one can convoke, so that's pretty good. When it enters battlefield, prevent the next 5 damage that would be dealt this turn to any number of targets as you choose, divided. You can flash it in too, which is solid. Light of Legion. 4 and 2 white, flying, mentor. I love the mentor on this thing. So whenever another creature attacks, put +1/+1 counter on target creature with lesser power. Or sorry, whenever this thing attacks. And this thing's a 5/5 to begin with. And then you can put a +1/+1 counter on each white creature you control when this thing dies. So that card that I showed you before where, was it a sorcery or was it an instant? I think it was an instant. If you do Duty Beyond Death on this angel in particular, you're actually going to give 2 +1/+1 counters to the entire board because this is a mono white deck. And in addition to that, give everything indestructible for a turn. So that is a really sick combo to pull off if you can get both of those to go off at the same time. Sunblast Angel, 4 and 2 white. Enters the battlefield, destroy all tap creatures. I think that one's pretty vicious to anybody who's attacking full out. Exemplar of Light. I love this one. 2 and 2 white, 3/3, flying. Whenever you gain life, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever you put a +1/+1 counter on this thing, you draw a card, but only once per turn. So, I mean, you're still going to get 1 extra card per turn, and this thing's going to get beefy. And I love the art on this one. This is one of my favorite angels for the artwork in my deck. Now we're into some of the serious stuff. Sarah's Guardian. Actually, that was one of the serious ones too. So was the one before that. And the one before that. And the one before that. Okay, we got into the serious ones a while ago. Flying Vigilance. All my other creatures have Vigilance. That one's pretty insane. That one almost made Commander if it was legendary, but I do have a better choice. Sicardian Savior, 3 and 2 white. When this thing enters the battlefield, if you cast it, return up to 2 target creatures with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Pretty solid way to get back a couple of the cheaper angels in the deck. Including my commander if she goes to the graveyard. Aurelia's Vindicator, 2 and 2 white. Flying, lifelink, ward 2. Pretty insane. The disguise is kind of weird, but when this thing is turned face up, exile up to X other target creatures from the battlefield and or creature cards from graveyards. So that's pretty insane. And then all the exiled things come back to their owner's hands. So, if you disguise this, put it face down, and I think for disguise you have to pay 3 to do it, but I can't remember for sure. And then you pay that cost to flip it face up, say right before a board wipe or something. You can exile almost all your stuff from the board, then this thing will die, and then all that stuff will come back. To your hand at least. So, it's a neat way to save your stuff. Angel of Intervention is, or Invention, sorry. 3 and 2 white, Flying, Vigilance, Lifelink, Fabricate 2, I like this one. So when it enters battlefield, you get to put 2+1/+1 counters on it, or you make 2 1/1 servo artifact creature tokens. I forgot to add the servos to this deck. And all my other creatures get +1/+1. Resplendent Angel, 1 and 2 white, Flying. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 5 or more life this turn, you get to make another Angel. This one has Flying and Vigilance. And then you can pay 3 and 3 white, and until end of turn, this thing gets +2/+2 in lifelink. Probably not paying that insane cost, but it's definitely in here to do the producing of the extra angels. And the last card of the deck, and the one that I am considering as a backup commander, is Lyra, the Dawnbringer. 3 and 2 white, she's Flying, First Strike, Lifelink, and she gives all my other angels +1/+1 in lifelink. She was the original commander because I wanted everything in the deck to have lifelink, and I think that's still a really solid idea. Plus, she's my second favorite art next to the full art one that I showed you earlier in the deck. But, honestly, she costs so much to get on board that this deck pops off way better if I can put this at the commander. So as I was saying before, this kind of falls between bracket 2 and 3. For me, if I play her as commander, it's more of a bracket 2 deck. If I play her as commander, it's more of a bracket 3 deck. But I don't believe there are any game changers in this deck, and I don't believe it plays competitively enough to be level bracket 4. So, that is my mono white Praise God Angels deck. And yeah, now we will open this pack, and then I have a puggy who I promised some lunch. And my dad could be home anytime, so I want to get this done quickly. My friend did not want to be talked about more than just to say that that person had gotten me this pack, and that it was a gift to say welcome back to the group and to work, and it was just a really nice gesture. I'm trying to remember if the American packs have the issue at the front. Land. Yeah, the issue is going to be at the front. Okay. So, token, land, hollow, best card. And then I think we got to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully. Hopefully only 4. I think that's the pack trick. We'll see. My goal is maybe to pull a Badger Mole Cub, because it is one of the few things in this collection I didn't pull yet, or the Walls of Ba Sing Se. Either of those would be an amazing pull. I do love Pirate Peddlers, though. This one is one of the better cards in this deck for sure, with the Death Touch and the ability to sacrifice stuff. Pretty solid. Ooh, Lost Days. I think I only had one copy. No, I don't even think I have a copy of this one. Yay, new one. Owner of target creature or enchantment puts it on the bottom of their library, second from the top. You create a clue token. Nice. I love Momo, and this is one of the saddest parts of the anime, so it's nice to have the card to cherish that. Earth Kingdom Soldier. We've pulled him a couple times. He's not bad. Vigilance is the big thing on him for sure. It is nice that he can give a couple extra +1/+1 counters, but the Vigilance is a big reason to put him into play. 3/4 with Vigilance isn't bad at all. 4 and a black for 5/4. When this thing attacks, you can sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do draw a card and put a +1/+1 counter on this, another good sack outlet. Platypus Bear. 1 and a green or blue for Defender. When this thing enters, mill 2 cards, and if there's a lesson in your graveyard, you can attack as though you don't have Defender. Probably one of my least favorite cards, to be perfectly honest, in the set, mainly because, as I've said before, I find it really weird when they keep giving Defender to things and then an out for the Defender. Ostrich Horse. We've got several of those ones. We probably didn't need any more of it, but it's an interesting card for sure. It lets you get a land back into your hand if you milled one, and if you don't, you get to make it into a 4/2, so How to Start a Riot. It's always a fun instant to have. Gives one creature menace and everything else on your board +2/+0, so can't be unhappy with that. Plus, insanely flavorful. One thing becomes a menace, everything else gets beefed up. I like that. Ooh, Crescent Island Temple. I only had one copy of this, so it's nice to get an extra one. When this thing enters, for each shrine you control, you get to make a 1/1 red monk creature token with prowess. Whenever another shrine enters, you get to make create a 1/1 red monk creature token with prowess. I do want to build a shrines deck out of the Avatar shrines and the like half dozen other shrines that I own. I think I only own like maybe 10 in total at max. So that is a good pull. I'm happy with that one. Water Tribe Rallier. I think I only had one copy of this one before, if I had any. Waterbend 5. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Reveal a creature from power level 3 or lesser among them. Put it into your hand. I can't remember if I had that one or not. That's a good pull too. Solid. This pack kind of started to dip in the middle, but it's picking up fire now. Speaking of fire, that is the second time I've pulled this one, and a good one to have an extra copy of for sure. When this thing enters, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it if you attack this turn, and whenever it attacks, you get to make a 2/2 red soldier creature token with Firebending 1. So this one doesn't have Firebending itself, but it makes a whole bunch of Firebenders for you, which is pretty awesome. Ooh! We pulled 2 shrines in one pack! That's insane! That is really cool! The Spirit Oasis is a good one too. You get to draw a card for each shrine you control, and whenever another shrine you control enters, you get to draw a card. I actually have 2 copies of each of these now. Unfortunately, I don't play, I might have to build a 60-card Avatar deck that's based on shrines, just for the sake of it, to be honest. I might. We're getting to the token now, so we should be getting the Hollow, the land, and whatever the Mega Pole is, which, I mean, I can't believe there's a Mega Pole still in this. Serpent's Pass, I love that land. Nice little extra one to have a copy of. For me? Callous Inspector is our Hollow. Menace. When it dies, you get to deal... Or, sorry, when this creature... Yeah, when it dies, it deals 1 damage to you, and you make a clue token. Yeah. Okay. That's some decent value. And our hit of the pack is... Suki! We got another Suki! Cool. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. Whenever another permanent you control leaves the battlefield during your turn, create a 1/1 white ally creature token. Ooh, now that I have 2 copies of this might go into my ally deck. I don't know what I'd pull, though, because I don't have a lot of space for her. But that is a sick card for sure to have in a deck that does some airbending stuff. So, yeah. Good pack all around, and a good episode of Super Deck Sunday. Since I forgot it at the beginning. Anything you want to say, Kaiba? Yeah. Much love to you all from Kaiba the Pug, and myself to you. Take care. We hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode of Super Deck Sunday, and that you'll tune in for the next one. Love you all.